The Steam Next Fest demo event just finished, which for those that don't know is a week-long event where literally hundreds if not thousands of upcoming games receive demos and you can play them as much as you want in that 7 days. And so in this video I'm going to be sharing the top 10 ones that I recommend playing, starting off with the Destroy Humans 2 remake demo. Now in case you haven't seen, of course, behind me, I love the original Destroy Humans. I grew up with it on the original Xbox, and it was so surprising to me to find out that other people also grew up with this game, so much so that it received a remake. And so now we're back with number 2 getting that same treatment. The story kind of continues from where the other one left off, except this one takes place in the 60s and 70s. And now the mothership was missiled down, and it's up to Crypto basically to gather all the missing pieces and I'm guessing maybe rebuild or something. But not only that, but the entire story is also playable fully in co-op with a friend. Sheffy T didn't want to try, so I just went in alone. It seems like they brought back the voices from number 2, right? And only the visuals are remade. You can customize your character, right? With different DLC outfits, different costumes. You can also do the same thing with the UFO. Like, it has fully customizable skins and everything, which is cool. It was kind of like a mix of RPG elements in this demo, because every single portion of Crypto, like your weapon, your shoes, your jetpack, even the UFO, you can basically upgrade if you collect all the, brains or whatever the turd you needed to do that. And then, to my surprise, they let you try a few different weapons too in this demo. There's one new one I wasn't familiar with, and if you hold it, you can basically make random characters or even vehicles bounce around all over the place. But my favorite was probably the visor mechanic here. Pretty much if you go to, let's say there's like police coming after you or people are suspicious, put on your love visor and hypnotize them all, and if you get enough people, they'll start dancing, and that gives you enough time to kind of run away or hide. One of the missions was also like an entire boss battle where you had to take out this like hippie guy who was selling, I don't know if it was like certain like drug soda or something, I don't remember. Basically he drugged Crypto, right? Everything is like all kind of like weird looking and whatnot, kind of like mimicking like you're hallucinating. And so hopefully by the time this one comes out, I have either a console or maybe like an upgraded computer that can actually handle playing this. So feel free to help out on Patreon, of course. Wink wink. Moving on from there, the next game I played was called Agent 64 Spies Never Die. And this is basically a love letter to the Nintendo 64 and the James Bond 007 games. Like the movement and the characters, everything down to the cheesy like little cutscenes. It was still a demo though, so things like jumping or crouching around were missing, but it was pretty fun from the time I gave it. And depending on your difficulty, they also had different side missions you can do. Free the civilian hostages or defuse all the explosives. And so when this full game comes out, I hope not only do they add controller support, but also multiplayer mode, both split screen locally and maybe online, because even though it's been like 25 years now since GoldenEye came out, people still to this day play that game just for the multiplayer alone. Like, you can't have a James Bond game without the iconic multiplayer versus mode, right? Like, that would just be the cherry on top. And moving on from there, this next game completely took me off by surprise. This one is called Anger Foot, and as you can see from the footage, you're kind of just walking around and you're kicking stuff, right? But what makes it so much fun is basically once you kick the door down or maybe take out an enemy, the entire music starts getting like more intense, right? I don't know if it's like a hardcore techno or some turd, but it just kind of makes you feel a certain way where you just want to keep it going and see how intense it can go, right? And the more crazy you get, the more enemies arrive. There's different variety of enemies, like some have weapons, some have like a machine gun, some have like a shotgun. I even saw a tentacle with a knife. If you get close to it, it'll stab you. The gameplay was very addicting and each hit was super satisfying. Basically, this demo went on for quite a while, right? Where at the end, I even got to take out a boss battle. It was like this guy on a giant helicopter, and after you take him out, he turns into this like tiny little van with a ball and chain behind him. There's also different challenges you can unlock, right? And when you do that, you can unlock different shoes. So if you're wearing the Crocs, I believe you can make the enemies float away. Or if you're wearing these other shoes, you can do like this super speed dash. I didn't actually check, but I hope this game also gets released on the Switch. Gyro first-person shooter games are just the way to go, and I would love to play this game with that motion controls too. Now, if that game was a little too intense for you, and you just would rather chill down and relax, then take a yonder at Railbound. This is a very relaxing, chill train puzzle game where you have to connect the correct number of rail carts to the train. Cart number 1 has to make it to the train first, then number 2, then number 3, and so on. But it's not as easy as it sounds, because as you go on through these levels, you're gonna see there's different tunnels and different obstacles, there's switches you can do. I really like the way this game looks, like it's very bright and kind of shiny. Kind of reminded me of Spirit Tracks, right, on the DS. But it was fun, it was relaxing, and I wouldn't mind if something like this also came out on the Switch. And you might start seeing like a pattern in these games I've played, and there's no difference in this one either. Ultrakill, I think, came out a few years ago, but I believe this was like a new expansion or something. But it has this PlayStation 1 style like graphics. It's a first person kind of shooter game with metal tunes in the background that just made each like hit that much more satisfying, right? There are also boss battles that were pretty hard to get through. I'm kind of stuck on the third one, I think. I don't know, it was just really fun having these enemies follow you, only to push them into this crane machine and watch as all their guts get squashed together. It was awesome. And now, do you like metal? Why, yes. Do you love jamming out to some hardcore guitar riffs? Yes, I do. And vocals? Yes. You know what makes it even better? No, what makes it even better? Rhythm game. Combine all that together and you have yourself Metal Hellsinger. If the developer with his long beautiful hair didn't win you over, then the trailer definitely does. It's a first-person shooter rhythm game, but with metal music. My computer could barely handle this game, like the fans were going at full blast, but I couldn't even hear my fans because I had the speakers turned up all the way. I was just jamming out to this metal tunes. It was awesome. Basically, the moment you started getting combos and stuff, right, and you kept the rhythm going, the music would also evolve as you are playing. It let you try a variety of different weapons too. Like at first you had like this sword weapon, then you had this giant skull thing that shot fire. But the guns I think were probably my favorite. Pretty much by the end of this demo, I was so familiar with playing on the beat and how this worked. I was able to just shoot, reload, shoot, and just keep going. You also have alternative attacks for your weapon. Like one of them created like a doppelganger, so he shoots for you as well. It took a little bit of time to get used to, but basically by the end of the demo, right, when it was time for the boss battle, I was just fully ready and just going crazy. It was awesome. Top notch, definitely worth giving a try. And now, going from metal to something completely different, right? Like not even close. We have Frogun. This game follows like this girl whose parents I believe were architects or something, and they went on an adventure, but they never returned. So she stole her father's frog gun and she went out to explore for them. It's like a 3D platformer, kind of like Mega Man Legends, and it also shares that same graphic style, right? I really like what I'm looking here. It was fun to play. You can collect different coins, probably even get maybe new abilities later on. But the frog gun itself acts kind of like a grappling hook. Like it lets you hook onto different platforms or enemies and just throw them. And I hope each level is fun and diverse as the ones I played in this demo. And speaking of the PlayStation 1, this next game basically resembles Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This one is called Moonscars. The pixelated animation of the game is just top notch, right? Apparently, I think there was a sculptor or something, and he created your character, right, from clay. And it was up to you to explore this castle and everything, and then you slowly find out that, I don't know if you were cursed or injured or ill, but you make it to this sculptor guy, and he can take the pain away from you, right? By creating a clay version of yourself. In return, you lose all your abilities. If you do that more than one time though, I think your old version, like your old shell, becomes your doppelganger, and in order to get your abilities back, you have to take him out like a boss battle, right? I really liked what I played here, not only the leveling up system, but like just the enemies. It just, what sucks is the demo ended too shortly. Like right when I was making progress and getting into the good stuff, right? The demo just ends, and I was like, no, I want to play more, right? That's kind of when when, a game is going to be top notch, is when you want to play more and you can't get enough of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta sit down for this one. I'm a huge fan of real-time strategy games, right? RTS games. Age of Mythology, Age of Empires, Rise of Nation, right? And so when I saw Sweet Transit was kind of like a RTS game, city builder, but with trains, I was very intrigued. I was curious. I'm like, And I don't know if that was the best decision I've made during this whole Steam demo event or the worst. Basically, the world of Sweet Transit is all randomly generated, right? And it's up to you to grow a village, create like little houses next to it, create a dock station, have people come to your village, and start like a little kind of like community, right? Then what makes it a little bit more difficult, you have to start setting up like an entire rail system. People can go work in the mines, they can go like cut lumber and stuff, and kind of build resources. And the thing that brings it all together is this small little section, your little village, is just one part of the entire world. If you zoom out, you can have another village over here that's maybe more by the clay. You can have another village that's more by the water. And what's cool is if you have your whole trains and rail system working together, basically everything, this entire world, becomes like a living world. For a long time, I had a lot of trouble trying to figure out like I can't get to the coal mine if I don't have enough coal. And I can't have enough coal if workers can't get on the train. It was very frustrating. I restarted the game multiple times, and after I got the coal mine going and people were working there, I started running out of wood, like lumber, and the game was like, okay, go by the sawmill and bring your workers there. It was the same cycle all over again. The game was like, oh, we don't have enough workers at the sawmill, you're not going to make any more lumber. But then when I'm at the village, the people were like, oh, we don't have enough work, so they're complaining. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I have the train going to the sawmill, workers in the village go to the train and go over there. I just wanted the trains to move. I wanted to see my boys make progress. Next thing I know, like a blink of an eye, it's already 8 a.m. and I spent like 12 hours playing this one level or whatever, making like 5 minutes of progress, and you don't realize just how much time in real life actually goes by. After I couldn't figure out how that lumber works, right? And the whole train signals, the trains wouldn't move after a while. I just got so angry where I just uninstalled the game completely. And I took a break, right? I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna play. I'm gonna go tell Shippy T about it and then maybe go back and reinstall it. Like after I uninstalled it, the day later, it wasn't available to play anymore. Like the demo was gone. You know, the developers were like, all right, this guy's playing a little too much. Let's cut access off for him. Even though I was frustrated, it was still kind of like a relaxing and fun game where, like I said, I couldn't figure out how to play and I restarted so many times. I kept going back to it, but I definitely want to give it a try once it's fully released later on. Moving on from there, what if I tell you there was a game that's kind of like Stardew Valley, except with Caveman? Then you're in luck because this one is called Roots of Pacha. Shippy T and I played this together, story co-op, and it was a hoot. Like you start the game by making your derpy little character. My name was Jay Garzatar and Shippy T was Glorgius. And us two, the boys, pretty much we were just exploring this entire land. It gave us only about 8 days to play though, but that kind of lasted 2 hours for this entire demo. Harvesting and growing snacks was a huge thing as you had to worry about stamina always running out. We also found out that you can play music to tame animals and then eventually have one of the villagers build them sheds. You have to wait a certain amount of time before that character actually builds it in the game. We didn't have enough time though, but in the trailers, we also saw that you can also go a little bit further, and if your relationship with the animals grow, you can kind of ride them and use that for fast travel. And it's not just kind of like a building simulator style game, there's also mystery attached to it too, right? Like the farther we started playing and the more progress we made in the story, we eventually found this giant forest and made our way to the cave. I don't know, some kind of spirit thing happening. We turned into an owl, so we made offerings to the totems in exchange for like challenges and stuff, which then introduced new abilities and items. If you want to see, I actually uploaded our full little 2-hour long playthrough of this demo on my VOD channel if you're interested. And this next game I believe takes place back in medieval style Europe when the Black Plague was happening, right? And this one is called Gloomwood. Basically, you start this demo off hidden in the shadows, kind of just sneaking around and making sure nobody sees you, right? Then eventually I found this dead guy in one of the alleyways and I pulled out this cane sword from him, and if I want to kill somebody, I do a hold attack and stab him in the back. But if I walk around with the cane, I walk a little bit slower. If I hide it though, like put it in the sheath, I can walk faster, but in return I make more noise, right? So sneaking is a huge part of this game. And don't let these graphics fool you. It's like an atmospheric kind of horror game. I was completely on the edge of my seat over here, waiting for these like enemy characters to show up at any time when this guy with a rifle was walking by. I tried grabbing like a bottle, but there were so many times where it just didn't work or they completely saw me and then I died. I was trying to take him out, but this time when he fired his shotgun, it also alerted like 6 different guards around him. So I'm just hiding in this corner in the shadow, people walking around, and I'm stabbing them, one hit kill with my little cane sword. As long as they don't see you and their eyes aren't red, I think you can do a one-hit kill. But after I did that, all of the doors nearby were open. I went in there, I was able to unlock these switches, open this jail door. I found this elevator going up and down. I was eating these giant chunks of cheese for health, which was awesome. The moment you got into these canals, everything just kind of went dark, right? And it was hard to see. You pick up a lantern, and the trade-off of using that was that your visibility is completely seen. And I'm just walking around, right, in these canals, just slowly exploring. And I got to this one point where there are these switches, right? And when I pulled that down, I swear, I don't know if I saw something, right? If I blinked or whatever, but right in front of me in the shadows, something just moved really fast. Did I see something or am I going crazy? After that point, I'm just sitting there in the dark, just waiting and listening to the sounds, right? And I don't hear anything. I start moving a little bit closer, right? Just kind of looking around the corner. But then I start hearing these footprints walking faster, right? Like tuk, 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 tuk. I get my shotgun out and I see the shadow coming for me really fast. I shoot because he catches me off guard, and then another one from the other side comes real fast. I actually scream, right? Like that was the jump scare. He got me. I got spooked. I'm like, Jesus, what was that? I turned the lantern on, only to see it was like these like skeleton bird looking creatures. And at the end of these demos, I found these 2 talismans, which kind of resemble, you know, Jackie Chan adventures. I went back up to the streets and I remember seeing this weird purple kind of like force field door. I put the talismans in there and I walked up into this room. You heard like some kind of voice. And then it was just over. And I was like, no! I want to play more. This was so cool. Like that demo was genuinely awesome. And I would have never heard of it if it wasn't for, you know, E3 and seeing this trailer. Like, geez. And if you enjoy the kind of like retro style first person shooters, you know, games I've been showing in this video, then get a load of this one. This is called Cultic. The visuals basically brought me into this game, but the atmosphere and gameplay itself made me finish the entire demo. You walk around, you know, some kind of, I don't even know where the turd you are, but it's full of these cult members, right? Everyone is trying to take you out. Some of them throw axes at you. Some of them shoot you with weapons. The way they move resembles Doom, right? Kind of like the cheesy like animations. Like you got a variety of weapons too. You can shoot the barrels, right, to make explosions. Throwing lamps was kind of fun because it just caused fires, right? And you can just watch them just slowly burn alive. Getting a headshot too turned the entire game kind of like slow motion. Very satisfying to do. I don't know if it was a boss or like a mini boss or something. This guy with a huge chainsaw was running after me. I actually died a few times because I didn't know where to go. But I do like these visuals. It kind of reminds me of Silent Hill, right? This next game is a cheesy puzzle style comedy game where pretty much it takes place in a public toilet. This is Toilet Chronicles. It's really derpy. There's like an entire mystery factor to this. The description read, "Do you have fear using public toilets? Well, this is the game for you." And I was like, oh no. And depending on what you do, like different sequences, then you get a secret ending and it's an achievement and you die. Stand there for too long, a giant tentacle can take you out, and then you also die and get another achievement ending. Eventually, you find out that you have to sit on the toilet and the guy sitting next to you is waiting for some toilet paper. You give him toilet paper, and from this moment on, here's a piece of paper, put water on it, you get a secret message. You do that, it tells you to stand on the stall. You pick up this paper, and it says, you know, they're always watching. You turn around behind you, there's a camera, took a picture of your butt. I'm like, what is happening? What are we playing? I made it to another chapter or something, and I was like, alright, you must decide. go to the vents now, right? Open the vent, get rid of the guy sitting there, and there's a grenade, and you have the choice. You want to give him the grenade, or you want to pull the grenade, open it? That's another ending. If you give it to him, that's how you continue or something. Like, are we gonna be in this toilet the whole game? I'm kind of curious. And now we have made it to the final demo that I'm going to recommend in this video here, and that is a game called Fueled Up. So it's kind of similar to Overcooked, where you play co-op with friends and you kind of try to do certain challenges and tasks under a certain amount of time. Except instead of cooking snacks, one person is over there building the fuel, while the other one is either repairing the ship or recharging the batteries itself. If you don't recharge the batteries, then the doors open. Either the characters can come out or the materials can come out too. Shifty didn't want to join me for this one though, so I had to go solo. It was a little bit hard playing alone, right? Like I had to switch between each character using tab, but it was actually really fun. And depending on which level you got to, there are also different obstacles to do as well. One of them had like this giant squid appear that basically blocked your entire path. Another one had these exploding meteors. If you don't make it fast enough to the shredder, they will explode, and in return, it makes you walk a lot slower. Then there's also like these button activated doors that needed more than one player to pretty much work with. It was frustrating. Moving the fuel stations was also kind of bootleg, right? Like the station moved up and down and you had to keep switching your locations. And so yeah, I just hope this game also comes to consoles too, right? Because Overcooked, if it wasn't on the Switch, I don't think I'd be able to chance to play it with Shifty and the old hag. I am definitely a huge fan of this whole demo event, right? And I hope Steam has more. So if anyone, is interested in these kind of videos, I can make more later on. Just tell me in the comments below if you would like to see more of these too. Thank you fellow Patreon supporters for supporting me, of course. If you want to be one of those oddballs and help me, then come join those oddballs here because I couldn't be doing this without them. Thanks for watching, Tiki Andre at my streams, and I shall see you all on another lovely video. Goodbye everybody. Goodbye. Whoosh.